So thanks for joining today. As I mentioned before, I'm really overwhelmed how many people are showing up here. When I look at the attendee list, I see 52 people still climbing up. So that's great. Quantity takeoff, it seems, is a hot topic in the world. Let's start with a little introduction. Why do I speak about this topic? So I'm an architect by training, and I did this typical architectural career, doing some nice competition work, and after some time moving on into detailed design, construction side, and when after some time I worked for a client as a client rep and as a general contractor or design build project manager. And at this time, cost got very important for me, and quantity takeoff got very important for me. And I got the job to automate this work. Of course, everybody who is doing this work knows the plans always come too late. And when you have to hand in a cost calculation, and as a design build company, it has to have a price tag. So it's not plus minus 20%, it has a price attached to it. So there's some importance to it. And what we did is, we did participate in a lot of competitions together with architects. So the architect did the design, we did put the price tag on, and then we handed in this whole package to the client and hopefully got the contract. So now what happened is we first received the plans, we had to measure as usual. Second, we said, okay, let's do this with BIM. The promise of BIM, everything works with just the press of a button and every problem is solved. Well, we learned it's not that easy. So next step was we started to give some modeling guidelines. Well, this didn't work either. So the models were 80% good, but the rest of the 20% missing, we created so much work, it was no fun to use the models. So better to measure again. Next step was, I came up with this idea of abstract BIM, where we automatically convert models into a very structured and normalized data model. That works great. We are in the market since 5 years. And now what we're seeing is people don't know how to use this data. So we are so trapped in this old workflows of measuring as we always used to do, but we don't even know how to use the data. And that triggered this idea to really centralize everything that we developed over the last 5 years in a library and to offer you a very simple entrance to coding. Because as a quantity surveyor, or a lot of quantity surveyors are Excel wizards. And the step from being an Excel wizard to coding is not that big anymore. It's, let's say, you already know 80% of what's necessary. And now, with the large language models, the rest, with 20%, it's so easy to learn. And this is what this masterclass or what this webinar today is about. So to start, I would like to do a poll with you. It's about, do you have programming skills? No. Actually, do you see it, the poll? If not, yes, okay. Coding advanced, wow. I hope I don't bore you. It's a race between coding basics and advanced, okay. 12 votes. Please participate. It helps me to pick the right speed when going through the code. No coding, okay. Absolutely no problem. It's targeted at no coding skills, and probably you know more when you think. So, as the BIM Pirate, I say coding for landlubbers. Great, so quite diverse, but a lot of people knowing Excel, a lot of people knowing coding basics. That's a good start. And openness to learn, Suhail, very good. That's what is needed. Let me share the screen. And if you want to, you can continue, or you can do the same as me, but I don't know if you have enough time. So maybe it's easier to just watch and later on follow with the video and repeat the steps. So the first thing I want to share with you is GitHub. GitHub is a platform where code is published. I shared a link with you in the chat. And when you enter, it looks very scary. So black and very technical. And I think that's one of the main barriers why so many people think that coding is not for them. And it was exactly the same for me. 10 years ago, I thought I will never learn programming. But over the last 10 years, I did more and more and more, and now suddenly I do crazy stuff I never imagined to do. So when you go on GitHub on this page and you scroll a little bit down, usually you always see a README. And the name is a good one. So it's really worth reading them because it helps you to get started when it's well written. And here in this README, I created a quick start for you. And we will go through this tutorial today. So the first thing is, or the first step is Google Colab. That's when you click on the link, you get here. That's the easiest way of getting started to code, so without having to install anything. And what you can do is you go on the GitHub and tutorials intro. I created this QTO Buccaneer intro tutorial .ipynb. This is a Jupyter notebook. So just what you heard the name. And you can compare it a little bit like structural engineers will like to do this calculations by hand and really document every step. And this is very similar for data scientists. And you can just copy this URL, go back to the Jupyter notebook, go on GitHub, and enter this URL, and it will start. Now you have some blah blah. The introduction I did basically now with words. And I would like to start with some Python basics, really basics. So when you see here this black window, this is a code. And everything that has the hashtag in front tells the computer, I'm a comment. Don't do anything with me. I'm targeted at humans. So when I press here on play, it asks me to start. nothing happens because here are only comments. In the next field, we have something else. We have this line where we say print and some kind of text. When I do this, it prints ahoy landlubbers. Soon you will have your programming legs. And everything that is between here you can change without any problems, and you press it. The next thing I would like to show you is a variable. So here we say this text is stored in greeting. And now we say print greeting. When you press the button, the computer links these two fields. So exactly like in Excel, equals A1. The only difference, it's much more transparent because here you can say whatever you want. So you can, these variables can talk to you. The next thing from the programming basics I would like to show you is a for message. So here we have a list of different texts. A list is just a collection of different data, always separated by this comma, and we have 3 different data sets. And here I say for every entry, so for every message that is inside this shout out, print the message. And when I click here, it prints this message. And this message, it's just a convention. So I could, very often people just write I. So for I, so for the number of entries in shoutouts, print it. And it does it. The next thing I will show you is something very special for me. And I really like it. Programmers are lazy. They don't like to repeat themselves. So, and maybe you have to print more often something. So the solution is you put something into a function that's defined by this def, and you call the function. So this is what I'm doing here. Shout like a pirate, and I send the shoutouts. So what we defined here. And you see, it prints it. And here I define some other shoutouts, RRR, and I call the function again with these other shoutouts, and it's printed. So it's a very convenient way of not repeating yourself, and with this, avoiding problems. For now, I will stop with the basics because today it's really a quick walkthrough. But if you want to continue here, you're almost where you know almost everything you need to know to get started on your journey. Maybe one more thing I will show you. What is a really good idea is when you don't know what code is about, you can always copy it in a large language model and ask, explain me this code. And you'll get a quite good explanation of the code. So this works in both ways. Gemini or ChatGPT or whatever you want to use can read code very well and can write code very well. So if you want to, where's a homework exercise, how to make this a little bit smarter. But now we will dive into and leave the basics of programming behind and dive into, the real juicy part. And the first thing I would like to introduce to you is pandas. Pandas is the Excel on steroid when you program. And here with this line, we say, please start pandas. It's the equivalent of double click on the Excel symbol. Now, in the background, the pandas screen opened and every function is available for us. And the first thing we do is we open a file. So here we say quantities or data frame quantities. Data frame, that's the programmer's word for a table, should be PD. That's the short name that we defined here for pandas. Read Excel, and here is the name of the Excel file. And when I execute this, we'll get an error message. And get used to it. An error message is nothing bad. It just means you didn't tell me exactly what to do. And here we can read, okay, the file was not found. Of course it was not found because I didn't upload it. Let's do this. And let's upload the model for later as well. So now we have it. And let's look at the data. So here it's an Excel from a BIM model. Every line is one element in this model with its metadata. So great, good way of exploring the data, but as you see here, we don't even see all the columns. So next step is I tell the computer, please let me see all the columns. And now you can start exploring with a few lines of code. For example, I want to see all the column names. And here it's quite simple. You say column list is this data frame dot columns, and then print column list, and you see them. So I really encourage you, when you first know what you want to do, and then tell the computer what you want to do. I want to see all the column names of the DF data frame. And you see, you get a snippet of code. And of course, that's nice to explore the data, but now I want to go deeper. And I recommend you, if you have the data, always look at the BIM model and look at the extracted data. So here I want to see all the data where the predefined type is cladding and where is external is true. So basically the facade area. So now it did filter down this list to a new list where these conditions are true. So in Excel, it's the equivalent to sum if, for example, or if statement. And next step, the list is a little bit too long for me. I just want to see a few columns. Let's create a shorter list. And the next thing is I want to structure the data a little bit differently. So I want to group by normal, that's the direction the facade is showing, by building story, and I want to see the area, the sum of the area. And what you get is this pivot-like table. And I don't know, anybody worked with pivot files or pivot lists?
With what files?
Pivot lists. Do you know them?
Yeah, pivot. Yeah.
And I mean, it's always gets something used to, and it's a pain in the ass to click everything together, and just a few lines of code or just one line of code can do exactly the same. Let's go back. So basically, this line of code saves you a lot of clicking in Excel. And it's very transparent. So a data scientist often speaks about building up a data pipeline. So you get the data and then you have to clean it up step by step so that it becomes useful. And this Jupyter Notebook is a very nice and convenient way of doing exactly that and doing it very transparent. Because anybody who ever worked with an Excel sheet he didn't create knows how hard it is to understand what's going on. Here, it's really very transparent, and you can see exactly the steps you're doing. And now, step 4 is I don't always want to work with an Excel file. Maybe I don't have it. It's a little bit intransparent what's going on inside the Excel. So let's work directly with the IFC model. And for this, we install IFC OpenShell. That's this line. And now it takes IFC OpenShell, and this will help us to work with the Excel, with the IFC models. Okay, and we import. We open this simple model abstract BIM.ifc. We look in the model and we see we're 117 coverings. And of course, now with IFC OpenShell, you can really dig into this model. There's a documentation for it, but it's quite complicated. And I don't want to deal with this complication of pandas and IFC OpenShell when I just want to do a quantity takeoff. So for this reason, I created QTO Buccaneer library. It's a library that sits on top of IFC OpenShell, of pandas, and a few other libraries that make your life easier. So, and now we install it. And the idea behind it is that you get everything so that you can get started with a quantity takeoff. And the principle is always the same. First, you have to define what metric do you want to measure in the model. So I want to see all the floor areas, all the by room type, whatever. And for this, we created this language where we say the name of the metric. It has a description, a definition, but it's human readable. We want to measure the area of all the IFC coverings. So you define the IFC entity. And from PSET base quantities, we want to do this net area. And we include predefined cladding and its external true. You can define exclude as well. And when you go into this library, I already predefined a lot of these quantities. So, but you can use this config file out of the box for the abstract BIM, or you can do your own config file and apply it to your well-structured files. So now what we are doing is we have to execute this line first. And when we say from this library, import this function, calculate all metrics. And this looks like, okay, calculate all metrics, the metrics definition, and the IFC path. That's the input. And when I press this button now, it's calculating all the metrics that are defined here. So when you go through exterior area, gross floor area, gross volume, interior floor area, window area. So I think out of the box, you can create 80 or 90 metrics already. And when you think about it, how much time would you have to spend when you would have to do it manually? Or you use something like this library and spend your time making sure that the input data is consistent, so that you can use programming. And of course, it's nice to see it here, but maybe it's better to get an Excel file to work with it. And this is what we're doing next. We create an Excel file from this data frame that we created, and I download it and open it for you. And you see here we have the Excel file with all the data. So the idea is really work smarter, not harder. Any questions so far? I know it was very quick and very intense what I did show you now. Natasha?
I guess my issue, or the issue with other people, is what you said. When the data comes in, you need to make sure that they are consistent.
Yes.
I guess that's what abstract BIM is doing. And I wonder, because when you take the IFC coverings, not all of the BIM models that we get will have this. So I'm guessing that abstract BIM is then applying IFC coverings, or?
Yes, exactly. So I show it here with the abstract BIM because this guarantees the consistency of the model. But it's not necessary. So
yeah,
basically, I was looking for a way to make you want getting consistent data, because your life gets so much easier.
Yeah, my issue is, for example, we have received models, and then one architect have, like, on the outside walls, it actually designed 2 walls instead of just making a composition of different compositions. No, it took a wall and then put a wall in front of it. And when I went to extract the information, and if I'm using a script to extract the information, I am taking the walls almost doubled. And that's, yeah, so that will be solved by abstract BIM, correct?
That would be solved by abstract BIM. So for everybody who doesn't know abstract BIM, what we are doing is we take the spaces, the windows and the doors, and when we calculate completely new models based on logics. So an interior wall is a wall between 2 spaces. Exterior wall has only a space on one side. And because we calculate it, we can guarantee the data quality. And we create walls, slabs, coverings, interior, exterior. So you can get a lot of the foundational metrics from it, but of course not the details. So what we see now with the customers who use it, it's always a mix. So some metrics, it's easier, you just measure by hand. Because, yeah, it's never modeled. Some other metrics you can easily get out from the architect BIM or the structural engineering BIM, like columns, for example. So structural engineers, we model quite good when we model. We are consistent, we're engineers, so every column will have a unique name or a name which is useful. So you can do a quantity takeoff of the columns from the original model. And this you can do quite easily with the library. And then, of course, you can apply tools like abstract BIM or simple BIM to make the models consistent. So I call it data wrangling. And basically, your job description is just changing. Instead of measuring the PDF with colorful pens, you learn how to use data science to do the job.
Okay, thank you.
I see a few questions here. By abstract BIM, do you mean using IFC models? Yes, the input model is an IFC, and as long as we have IFC spaces inside, we can create this abstract BIM data. What difference with this workflow and Revit scheduling export Excel workflow? No difference at all. So you can export from Revit an Excel file, define your rule sets in this config file, and then just use this Excel file and create your reports. Yeah, the values are calculated by your script. So the foundational metrics are from the IFC model, so the square meter of the wall or of the covering, and the script just condenses them and brings them together. Yes, this is a very beautiful question. So the basic idea is that when the design changes, the calculation updates automatically. Yes, exactly. So it's getting away from this linear workflow the architect is designing, and then at the end the cost calculator or quantity surveyor calculates the costs, and then the feedback is it's too expensive. And then feedback loop back, architect is designing again, cost cutting, and we calculate again. The idea is just build up this pipeline and do it parallel to the design process. So waterproofing, formwork areas. You can either do it in Excel or you can define the rule set, and then you can use the script to calculate the in this metrics, as I showed before, in this config file, and when you get it out automatically. So I like Excel. Excel is a great tool, but the moment we add too many formulas in Excel, it becomes complicated. So I would encourage you, try to use some code, learn a little bit of code. You will spend less time searching for mistakes. Last one, who's your clients? Yeah, quantity surveyors, clients, owner reps. We did, or we are doing currently a competition with owners where we compare the different entries. Design build companies like our tool quite a lot with our customers. But I mean, I know this was very quick, and it's quite hard. And I remember my time when I learned programming, my head was hurting. So, but you don't have to go through the same pain. We created this library, and here you have a landing page. I will copy it in the chat as well. Basically, what you can do now is you can come to a boot camp to learn programming a little bit in detail and a little bit slower. And of course, you have different options for it. You got a glimpse today at this deckhand access. It's distributed notebook published on GitHub. You can go through, you can try out, learn by yourself, self-paced, and get comfortable with it. Or we created a 9-week program where every week you have 1 hour deep dive into the topic. Here you see the topics. And then a 2nd hour Q&A session. So we start on Monday, Q&A probably will be on Thursday. And for 9 weeks, and at the end of these 9 weeks, I'm pretty sure you're comfortable enough to work with Python with your models. So the program is learning Python, learning to work with pandas, learning to work with this library, the Buccaneer library, learning how to explore models, how to create these rule sets, then how to combine the quantities with cost data, how to prepare the cost data so that it is very easy to do that. How to do reports. So currently we are working on providing some reports in this library. For example, I can give you a quick glimpse on what I'm working at the moment on. It's a PDF report from the quantities. So with table of content and really summaries. We will add some pictures that are automatically generated from the model, so that you have something in your hand that you can show a client as well. Because as I learned, our industry is still powered by PDF. And there's nothing bad with it. How to build up these pipelines, how can you get the structured data, how do you have to talk to the architect to get it, how do you check if the quality is good enough. Last, what can you do to clean up the data? So when it's not good enough, and there will always be some messiness in the data. So how to work with this real world data. when you can't use a service like Abstract BIM. And last, we will look into what did you do. We will celebrate. You can share your scripts, your dashboards, and yeah, we can look how to proceed and what are the next steps for you. Yeah, and there are different options for you, how you can do it. It's at a small package. You can ask for more mentorship with personal one-on-ones, where we really explore your use case, your specific needs, or you can do everything in just 9 hours instead of 9 weeks. So really compressed, like a Navy SEAL BUTS training. Any questions so far?
I think you have another question.
Ah, yes. Can you take the survey of earthworks and yes, if it's in the data, you can do it.
But
So,
how would be in the data?
That's a good question. So what we did, for example, is we modeled it in some projects, and when you have it in the data, or you can say, okay, we have the complete volume of the excavation, and now we apply some kind of rules. So saying, okay, the top layer up to 2 meters is this kind of is soil, this kind of soil when it comes rock. So actually, as you do now, you build some model either in Excel or by code. The beauty of code, it's transparent again. Pandas is easy and fun. IFC OpenShell is complex and time consuming. Yes, I absolutely agree. That's why I prefer to work with this abstraction layer of the QTU Buccaneer library, where we try to use IFC OpenShell as little as possible, or only in the background, so that you don't have to deal with it. Are there any visual features in the workflow? Not yet, but I'm working on it. So what I'm currently working on is that you see, or that you can create graphs of the different metrics, so that you see, okay, the facade area, this was calculated, or the slabs, these are the slabs that are inside of this formula. And this you can get back in the report, for example. I think BIM Collab Zoom Solibri still has a use. So I like to look at the model with BIM Collab, for example, and then get to learn about the model in BIM Collab, and then transfer it to code to work with it. Any other questions? So the next class of BIM, or of this bootcamp, will start in 1 month. Let me check when exactly. It will start on the 12th of May. And of course, I see many of you there. Please tell your friends, tell your colleagues. And I think this is the easiest way for you to get started with coding and to really benefit from the power of a few lines and bring you to the next level. And as I said, probably you are all Excel wizards. So 80% of the job is already done. Any other questions? Can we get the recordings? Yes, of course. I will put the recordings online. I will post it on LinkedIn. I will put it into GitHub. And I don't know if I have your email addresses. If I do, I will send you the recording or a link to the recording with the emails. So, how was it for you? I saw a few thumbs up. Is there anything I can do better the next time for you?
I think someone has raised a hand, but I cannot see it.
Okay, I don't see. Yeah, please talk. Just unmute and because I don't see it either. Or do you want to write?
I don't see it anymore,
Hey,
but I just
Simon,
saw.
it's Nock here. How are you?
Hi, thanks.
Let me turn on the camera. Hold on.
Perfect.
Hey, Nock, calling from Kenya, Nairobi.
Hi.
Hey, thanks a lot for the presentation, and that was great. It's good to see what other people are doing. So yeah, just want to say thank you, and yeah, we're following up if we have any more questions. But it's good to understand your workflow.
Perfect.
Thank you.
So feel free to reach out whenever you have a question. You do have my contact data. Thanks for joining.
Great. Thanks.
I would like to thank you, Simon, for the library. I think it's going to be quite useful. So yeah,
Okay.
thanks for this.
Yes, and please, if you find something, just let me know. You know how it is with code.
Yeah.
Okay. I booked my calendar for 10 more minutes. So if you want to, feel free and ask. If not,
I think I'm good. Yeah, I have to try
Yes.
it out. Thanks.
thank you. Thank you for joining and see you another time. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye.
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 Bye. Thank you.